Welcome to Life and Laughs Podcast. It's your host, Johnny Sanchez and Elias Isreal.
Welcome to Life and Laughs Podcast. I am Elias Isreal here with the co-host with the most.
Johnny right here. It's all right here, right there in my stomach. Right
Johnny
there.
Sanchez. Our abs are turning into abs. Just one big. They say strengthen the core. We've went too far.
What is up, everybody? We are really excited. We've got an awesome show planned for today. Elias, have you seen the show Chad on TBS?
Oh yeah, man, it's right up my alley. I can't get enough of it.
It's the most hilarious show. Now, some people don't like the over-the-top comedy. I love it.
I do too.
And this show is unusual. It's kind of it's on its own path here. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. It brings new life to today's teenagers. They use the word cringe or cringy.
Yeah.
This is filled with cringy hilarity.
Yeah, it's great. I get so uncomfortable just watching him function and say things that you're like, no, why?
There's so many times I'm watching my mouth literally go, I can't believe that.
I don't know about you, but I feel like I feel like that on the inside because I identify with that. Like I can think back in my life in moments where I was like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I?
Yes. Well, for people that aren't familiar with it, Chad is about a 14-year-old boy. We're going to talk more in detail about this when our guest comes up on the show, Saba Homayoon. She is on the way, and she plays Naz, the mom of this 14-year-old boy that is played by Nasim Pedrad, who is actually a 39-year-old woman. You might remember her from Saturday Night Live fame. She's playing this 14-year-old boy, and it's incredible.
Yeah, I can't even describe it. You just have to see it.
You have to see it. Again, you can go to tbs.com and just scroll to Chad. Watch these episodes. Hilarious. But speaking to you, we did have, I'm sure everybody has had some moments growing up of awkwardness. What were some of yours?
Well, here's, a principle in communication is that you spend the first 3 to 5 years in communication really doing impressions of other people who you like, and and then eventually you find your own voice. That's what it was like for me, is all throughout my teenage years, I was just doing these impressions of who I thought was cool. And at that time it was like, Bon Jovi was really cool.
Yes.
And glam rock was really cool. So I grew this giant hair out. And remember, we were in Little Rock, Arkansas. And so I remember one time I was driving, I was 16 and I had this real long hair and I was driving down the road and these guys, there was a place called Geyer Springs Road where everyone would cruise. And these guys turned their vehicle around, a truckload of guys turned their vehicle around and chased me and pulled me over this parking lot. And then I got out and they're like, oh man, you're a dude. We thought you were a girl. I was trying so hard to just be cool and be somebody else, and then over time, I guess, but I can remember so many moments when I remember I would not want the teachers to call my name out loud because no one had a name like me, like Elias Isreal. It's like, come on, just say Todd. Just say, don't do that.
Everybody's looking, who is that? Who is... Is that a guy or a girl? Where is
that a terrorist? Who's going? What's?
They're flinching.
What about you?
I had several of those moments because up until 8th or 9th grade, 7th grade below, I was a big time nerd. I was an athlete. I was athletic in sports and all that. It might have been my only saving grace because picture this, okay. I wore, back in those time, everyone wore the tight shorts, the short.
Right,
guys, on their athletic shorts and everything. So I had the short shorts and I would have a shirt, like a tennis shirt or a Izod type shirt tucked into these tiny shorts. And my knee socks, I had my socks pulled up to my knees And we couldn't afford like Nikes and the high brand tennis shoes. I had that off brand that had the upside down Nike.
Yep.
You remember it went up, it didn't go
extra,
up.
The extra stripe on the Adidas.
Yeah, it went down. So I had those, all of my socks and my glasses were just lopsided. It was the big, like, that faded down brown into nothing. And again, my mom would cut my hair, which God bless her, she did the best she could, but it was literally a bowl haircut. You just cut around, so I had several of those moments of wanting desperately to be cool and to be liked, and knowing I was kind of the butt of the joke, probably.
Do you remember ever trying to say words that were like the current cool words and work them into your vernacular, but you felt so awkward and you sounded awkward? I remember clearly trying to do that.
I think I probably would stutter more trying to come up with something to say at that time. But get this, in 8th grade, this is when I really noticed about trying to be cool. I got contacts, did away with the glasses. Started getting my hair cut by
ladies,
a barber, but I had a mullet in the back. I got it cut, which was cool then, but I added the perm. I was the first one. I just put a little perm in there, and I had the perm from the back down and long hair and that
bumpy waterfall.
But it's funny as a kid how you just desperately want to be appreciated, to be liked. You know what I'm saying? It's just magnified by a million when you're 15 and under, It's kind of what the show Chad is for the character, the main character, Chad. He's this socially awkward kid that is just desperate to be accepted and to be liked, but he takes it a million times above what would ever happen to any of us,
and has like zero self-awareness that what he's saying is completely horrid. I think that's the difference. Is like when we did things, we knew, oh man, this is really, I'm doing horribly here. Chad doesn't.
It's just you'll have sympathy for him at times. You'll laugh your head off at times, and just this cast is wonderful. The writing is wonderful. It's kind of similar to like a Saturday Night Live skit brought to life. It's just incredible. The acting, the show is put together well. So I really encourage people to watch it, which leads us to our next guest, Elias. I'm so excited about this. And on the celebrity hotline right now is an amazing actress and model who has been in several movies and hit TV shows, including How I Met Your Mother, NCIS, and Charmed. She is currently Nas on the hilarious brand new hit comedy Chad on TBS. Please welcome the very beautiful and talented Saba Homayoon. Hey, Saba, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Wow, we are so excited to have you on the show. And by the way, congratulations on Chad getting renewed for a second season. I saw that just happen a day or so ago.
It did. It happened. They announced it yesterday, and it's really exciting, and I can't wait to get back on set.
How long did you know before they announced it?
I knew for a few days. I mean, I had an inkling for a while, but I got the official word a few days ago.
I'm not one to keep a secret. I could never keep that secret, probably.
Oh, this is not something where you don't have a choice.
Well, we were talking about a minute ago. Now, you were born in Canada, raised in Nashville, and where is your Southern accent? Where did you ever have a Southern accent?
I did not. I think, you have, like, when I lived in Canada, I spoke French and Farsi and English. Yeah. So I went to a French school. And then when I moved to the South, I don't know. It's like I already had established so many languages. But, if I'm in the South long enough, I won't get a twang, but like I'll say y'all a lot more when I go home. I mean, I still say y'all. sometimes choose not to because people are like, "Are you from the South?"
Hey, when y'all made the transfer from Canada, at what part of Canada was it, by the way?
I was in Montreal, so in like Quebec in the French part of Canada.
Oh, wow. Okay. So when you made that transition, was someone in the family pursuing a music career? Like, because usually that's what people go to Nashville for.
No, my father just, his business transferred him. He was in the world of telecommunications and we got transferred. It was a very, it was a good thing for him. But yeah, so it has no, my parents have no connection to the arts whatsoever.
What about you? Did you pick up on singing while you were there or anything?
I did not. Since I was in like second grade, I've been doing, ballet and modern and tap. And then very quickly people told my parents to get me into acting, but they just didn't know what to do because Nashville is a country music town. It's not. Back then, it wasn't really, I moved there so long ago. Now it's like a hot city, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
It's a place where everyone wants to move to. And, investing there makes sense. Back then, it was still just sort of, like you could move into a neighborhood and you and like two other houses were like the only houses and you're like surrounded by empty plots of land. And that's sort of how it was. So my parents didn't know where to put me in classes. They just didn't know. So long story short, no, I do not sing or like country music. I can sing other things. But
what kind of music did you listen to growing up then? Where, especially being in Nashville, did country grow on you or did you?
I have an appreciation of all the arts, but what I'm listening to is top 40. Like I love the oldies. I love classics. I love the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. But what I put on the music for myself is something that I can dance to. So it's usually top 40. I'm trying to remember like the station. I can't even. I can't remember the G105. I think it was. I think we listened to top 40.
Yes, that's a special place in our hearts because both John and I have worked in radio and both in top 40 market. So we appreciate your sponsorships.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's. Come on, it looks so good. Pop music is so good.
Right.
Well, you got the acting bug I saw at 7 years old in a play. What play and what role did you play?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember the play. I just remember there were animals, and I remember my second grade teacher asking me if I wanted to audition for the lead, and I got scared and I said no. And so I just got put in the chorus. And I remember like I was burning after that. I was so angry. And sometimes it is anger that motivates us. But I think the disappointment and the sort of like shock of being like, oh crap, I'm really upset about this. It just like started, it started me on like always auditioning for the school plays and never letting like my own fear get in the way. But I think I was like an elephant or something. I have no idea what the play was.
Do you still, in your mind, can you still see the person doing lead just with that resentment in your heart?
No, I don't. I think I was more mad at me than I was mad at them, which is why I don't remember like their performance or anything.
Right.
I just remember I couldn't believe that my teacher straight up asked me, and I straight up went against my own feelings and said no. I couldn't believe that like I had betrayed myself like that. I was just like, who am I?
As you stood in your elephant suit.
Yeah, I could have been the peacock. Peacock.
Exactly. It was like, I just couldn't believe it. And I remember I was like, I am never doing that again. That is a terrible feeling.
You were so angry you missed your cue to go.
I know, seriously. I probably did. I was just doing. No, I was too much of a goody two shoes. I put on a little smile on my face and I waved my little trunk like a good elephant.
Well, that kind of goes along with what you said here. I also saw that you said, or I heard this in an interview, that you didn't choose to be an actor, but that acting kind of chooses you. Explain what you meant by that.
I mean, it's definitely a calling. I think, especially when you're a child of an immigrant, right? It's even more of a calling because you're really going against the grain.
Yeah.
I had good grades. I had good SAT scores. And my parents are thinking she's going to be a doctor or a lawyer, at worst, like an engineer. And then I was like, no, I want to study theater. And it's like, wah, wah, But it's a calling. And my whole thing in high school was like, do I really want to know that my doctor wishes they were an actor? Or do I want to know that their calling was medicine?
Just as you're going under the anesthetic, you hear a show
right,
tune
exactly.
in the background.
I don't want to think that they're off doing monologues. I want to know that they're committed to saving my life. And so I think that's what I meant. It's a calling. You have to be tough. It sucks. It's like a really hard business. 95% of it is heartbreak and rejection. But, so you have to really be tough enough to get through all those lean times.
Right. Yeah. And to keep going would be the toughest part, I would assume, after all the rejection.
Totally. It's so hard.
So how did you go from Nashville to Hollywood?
Okay. So, so in Nashville, in Tennessee, they have this program called Governor's School, where public schools can nominate their kids for a summer program in the humanities. And I got nominated for the theater program, and I auditioned, and there's thousands of girls audition, and shockingly, I got in. During that program, they told us what colleges had good theater programs. And it was really the first time I was I didn't even know there were theater programs. These were all new things for me. And so it was really the first time I was like, okay, I'm going to apply to these colleges. And so it just really set me on that path. I went to college, then I went to graduate school, and graduate school is really where it happened. So I got my master's of fine arts in acting. And at the very end of your 3 years of acting training, and school was amazing and it's prestigious, blah, blah, blah. At the very end, you do something called a showcase, where you do a performance in LA and New York in front of agents and managers and casting directors. And the goal is to come out of it with an agent and manager. I was really lucky. I literally moved to LA with an agent and a manager. And that's really how it started.
Wow.
I was, super lucky. I don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
But that's how it began.
You say lucky, but everything that came right before that was hard work that you put in. So that's
totally. Yes.
Yeah.
I did two. I have my master's. That's 3 hours. That's 3 years of 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, living, eating, and breathing acting.
Yeah. Which is the difference between someone who's put all that work in and someone who just posts something on maybe TikTok and becomes a viral sensation for however long.
Man, one time. I did that one time.
Hey, man, I could not do that. That stuff stresses me out.
I know.
Give me my Shakespeare. I'm the TikTok is way outside of my wheelhouse.
I can't learn those dances. They seem so stiff. I don't know. I came from the Belle Biv DeVoe generation.
My kids are they pick it up, and it's crazy because my kids do not stand still anymore. It is a constant TikTok dance. If we're in line, if we're in an elevator, they're it's a restaurant. I said, Alex, when you're in class, are you doing those TikTok dances? And he's like, yeah, I'm just sitting in my chair. And I'm like, oh my Lord.
Yes. And you can see it happening because they're doing a kind of Danielson, Mr. Miyagi thing with their arms, those little circles.
God. Yes, totally. It's so great. It's so funny.
Well, I want to ask you this. Is it true? And I may have got this wrong. Is it true that on your first acting job, you actually found out that your scenes had been cut while you were watching it with friends and family?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Oh my gosh.
That is what happened. I think, but here's the thing. I think it was before Facebook.
Yeah.
So it didn't have sort of the same catastrophic feeling.
Yeah.
Post social media. So it was one of those things where I called my family members and we're all watching it. And then my mom's calling me and she's like, well, wait a second. I didn't see you. What happened? But it wasn't on a large scale. Like now, I think it would be a lot harder for a new actor to post stuff on social media and then get cut.
Yeah.
Which is why I actually think now, I think sometimes you're told if you're cut. I think things have changed a little bit. Back then, I mean, I just found out in the moment, but it was okay. Like to me, it's still on my resume.
Yeah. You still did the work. It just wasn't.
I still did the work.
Yeah.
I still made the money. I still got my SAG card.
Right.
So I focused on that. I was like, don't be too sad.
Sounds like the therapy kicked in.
Exactly.
I just saw this too on April 7th. It was revealed that your show Chad debuted as the top-rated scripted cable program for 2021, and the premiere received 1.9 million viewers across 2 airings. That's incredible. Tell us about the show Chad. It's a 14-year-old Persian boy is the center, but you go ahead and explain the show to us.
It is. So it is a single camera comedy, half hour, about a 14-year-old Persian American, who is just really desperate to be popular, who just wants to fit in, who feels uncomfortable with his own immigrant status and Persian status, even though really everyone around him is so kind about it. And, like he's not being bullied. This is not a bully story. It's really like he's his own worst enemy. And it's like he's just so thirsty to be cool. Yeah. And he does things that are just bananas. I mean, they're just like it's so cringy that I have read these scripts and lived with these scripts that I even have a hard time. Like on Tuesday. I mean, it was just so hard to get through. But that's what, and you see his family and you see his life, but that's really what it's about. It's about wanting to fit in.
Yeah. You're so great as Nas, Chad's mom on the show. And it's kind of like, as parents, you bring out, because we're both parents, and you bring out like compassion. We have this compassion for you for having to be the parent of this socially awkward kid who seems to say and do, like you said, the most cringiest things.
Oh Lord, I know.
Describe your character, Nas. Where did you come up with this? Is it based on some like your own mother?
Well, I mean, this obviously the writing came from Nasim. She cooked it up. She really wanted to create a calm center. There's all this chaos, and someone needs to like ground the show in like and be calm, And so that's really who Nas is. And when I read the script, it absolutely reminded me of my own mother, because she was always calm, and I really don't know how she did it because I am not a calm mother. Like I always have the goal to be the calm mother, But, Nas is just able to always come from compassion and understanding. And she really, in that sense, does ground the show. And I think I didn't realize as I was filming it how really important that was. And to just see a mom that's calm and collected and cool on TV is not like something we see all the time.
Right.
Usually it's like the kind of mom I am in real life, which is like frazzled and tired and kind of angry and sarcastic. So I actually think it's kind of nice to see a mom that like is great at her job.
Yeah.
Being a mom.
You almost have the audience feeling sympathy, not just for Chad, but for you. Just how
I hope so. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, not at all.
So I think that's a good thing. Yeah, feel sympathy for me. It's not easy.
Chad, it's such a hilarious show. How often do people break during a scene or laugh and have to do it over? Like, how many second takes, third takes are you having to do? Because it's hilarious. I don't know, and it's a testament to your acting ability, first of all, to not break when Nasim, who does an incredible job of playing this 14-year-old boy as a 38, 39-year-old female. I mean, it's a testament not just to her, but to everyone around that. I mean, do you often break while you're shooting these scenes?
No. Shockingly, no. I heard. I don't. I'm not on the scene. I'm not on set when the kids are filming a lot, like the kids in the high school.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I heard they broke a ton, a couple of them, and they were having to do like take after take after take. Not Jake, not the actor who plays Peter so much, but like some of the others, which
Right.
I can completely understand and I have sympathy for. Oddly enough, the core family, like Nikki, Nas, Hamid, and Peter, for whatever reason, we didn't break. And I think it's because, and I know it doesn't make any sense, but Nasim is so realistic, even
Yes.
though Chad is doing these crazy like things, it's still based in reality that usually we laugh the second they call cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, when I would be like off set, like not on camera, but like watching other people do their scenes, I would be off set laughing. So something just would happen when we were like on camera that it just clicked and we wouldn't laugh. And so I'm really
Yeah.
glad about that because there were takes that she's so brilliant. I'm so glad nobody laughed because it would have ruined it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were able to really capture all her improvisation in those moments.
Isn't it a good thing though? Aren't you so thankful that you can, while you're watching the other scenes being taken and you're laughing at those? Aren't you so thankful that you're a part of a project that you actually find funny? That, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Instead of just like, oh
totally.
boy. Yeah.
Oh, I cannot tell you how many auditions I've had. Hundreds. I've had hundreds
Mhm.
of comedic auditions that I get the script and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I cannot make this funny. And I'm like,
Right.
I know they think this is funny, but this is not funny. And it makes your job as an actor like 1,000 times worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I bet.
second I got this script, it was funny. And I was, first of all, it makes my job easier. But second of all, it's so exciting. Like, it's so exciting. And then I got the rest of the script way later when we were finally ready to start filming. And I was so grateful that they were funny too. And every table read,
Yeah.
I was laughing. Everyone is gathered around and we're laughing. My husband, when he would read the script with me, would laugh. And even he was like, God, it is so cool to be on a show that is actually funny
Well,
because it's rare.
yeah, and you were speaking about the improv part of it. How much of what we see is from the actual script as opposed to just improving and it makes it into the show?
I think it is primarily what Nasim has written or what, her writer's room has written.
Yeah.
She has an idea ahead of time of like alternate lines. Some of those definitely made it in. And then there are moments where she completely goes off the rails and it is just like the insides of your stomach are just like tickling. But I would say, I don't really know. I have no idea what percentage of the improv made it in. I know in our scenes, it was mainly the script or the alt lines that we had already pre-planned.
Yeah. Are there any funny moments on set that come to mind? Because I'm sure there's a lot of bloopers. You guys have so much fun. You can tell that just in what's produced on the show.
Totally. Yes. I mean, for me, the scene where in episode 3 is, it's Ikrama's breakup, where
Yes.
I break up with my boyfriend, and there's a scene where Nasim is in a bathtub.
Yes.
And that was
remember that.
really like, in that scene, I had to fully get the giggles out before we started filming. So that was good. Like, it took a while for us to set up for that scene, and it allowed us to like see her in the tub for a while, get used to the insanity of that. I think that's the only scene I almost broke in. Because I would turn and look at her, and she was so small in it. It was so much
Yes.
lower than I was that she almost kind of looked like half her size. And so it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
I wondered when I saw how small she looked in there that if they had purposely gotten an oversized tub to make it look, or
No. So what they do is they have a tub. Her body is under the tub.
Okay.
So they cut a hole, sees her legs and body. So she's not actually really wet. There's no water in the tub. So she's under the tub, and then there's like a plank above her covering her legs and torso. And then they fill that portion of it with bubbles, bubbles.
Wow. Okay.
So she's under the tub, which is why she looks so minuscule. And but it works because it's really funny.
It did. It adds to the age part. I mean, it makes you really believe that this is a small 14-year-old boy.
I mean, Nasim is tiny too. Like Nasim is very petite.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of that, we have Nasim playing a 14-year-old boy. Now, this is something we thought about, that we want to see you as Chad's 14-year-old socially awkward cousin as a reoccurring guest that visits from time to time. I want to see that. I want to see them dress you up like they do Nasim as a 14-year-old cousin and come to visit.
Get that out there. I would totally do it.
Yeah, that would be great.
But it's so tricky though. You don't want to make the show too gimmicky, but but dude, that would be so fun for like.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And it's such a wonderful cast too. I mean, everybody's so great.
Mm-hmm.
I love the uncle Hamid.
Oh my God.
He is hilarious to play to get down on the level with Chad. Nasim and does such a wonderful job at that.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Well, we always joke that like Chad wants to be popular with like Reed, and Hamid wants to be popular with Chad.
Yes.
Like Hamid's dream is that Chad thinks he's cool. Chad's dream is that Reed thinks he's cool. So look at this chain, and it's hilarious.
It is. He gets so excited. If Chad is happy and excited, he's right there on that same level with him. It's incredible. Yeah,
I just watched episode 7 earlier, just last night, and when he comes home and tells him that he was invited to that lake house, and they're
I know,
and they both kick up in the air with their legs shaking around. Oh, I love it.
It's so good.
This show is hilarious is an understatement. So if there's people that have not seen this, you are going to love this show. Now, I want to ask you too, season 1, was it shot in Canada?
No, our pilot was shot in Vancouver.
Okay.
But the series was shot in Portland. There's a great production company up there that is putting out, amazing, funny shows. Like Isreal and Portlandia, and they were our production offices up there. We'll be filming season 2 though in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Oh, get to stay home.
So, that'll be close.
That'll be really nice. Yes, it'll be good for my children. Yes, it'll be good for the mommy and me. 100%. Yeah.
Did you have growing up? Did you have any Chad-like moments that you can relate to Chad from your days in school?
I mean, yeah, I sure, I think that, I 7th grade, somebody mentioned I had a mustache. Totally. I ran home and I started crying and I was like, I have a mustache. I have to get rid of it now. So, that's a cultural thing though, right? Not everybody has to deal with having a mustache. So those are cultural moments, right? I mean, it's true.
It could explain why you got the role as the elephant, though, in that play.
It could explain. But it's like I think I had an easier time than Chad. Like when I was a cheerleader one year, I was in student council, I did theater, so I wasn't like struggling the way Chad is.
Right.
But there were still, even with that, there were little moments where I was reminded that, oh, wait, you're different. And not because anyone was bullying me, not because anyone was rude or mean, right? Even the person that said I had a mustache, it was like, it was pointing it out, but it was never mentioned again.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, ha, ha, ha. It was like, oh, you've got a mustache. And,
right.
So it wasn't like I was bullied. It was just the comment was like enough to like spin me out.
Yeah, it doesn't take much as a kid.
And I was going to say, I think that Johnny and I can relate in some way to that. We're both of Hispanic descent, and we were both both kind of raised in Little Rock, Arkansas, and this was before Brown was cool. This is back
Right,
when it's
exactly.
like, oh boy, and so there were those moments where your name would stand out, or those just awkward moments that no one else really knows they're awkward except for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a teacher in 10th grade who taught me world history. I'm not joking. I sat directly in front of him, and for a year, every time he looked at my name, he acted like it was the first time he had ever seen it.
Yeah.
And it was Missa, Homayoon? And I wanted to be like, dude, I've had you for an entire year. Figure it out, buddy. I didn't say any of that. I just smiled and raised my hand.
Right. Got to just push through.
Push through, right.
I don't know if you knew this or had heard this. There was an interview with Nasim. She spoke of her 2 celebrity crushes growing up, and then you can give her a hard time about this later. One was Conan O'Brien, and the other was Macaulay Culkin. So that just led me to
hysterical.
Yes. So that just made me wonder, who were your celebrity crushes growing up as a young girl?
Oh, mine were not nearly as cool as hers in the sense, or as interesting, I should say. Hers are interesting. My first celebrity crush was Emilio Estevez because of Young Guns.
Yes.
My second was Keanu Reeves because of Point Break.
Yeah.
And my third and longest one was Brad Pitt because of Legends of the Fall and Interview with a Vampire.
And everything else.
Mine were like very traditional, not super interesting. Because like Conan is super interesting. Like now, if I were to have a celebrity crush, I'd go for like the funny, interesting guy.
Yes.
But back then, those were mine.
It was Brad Pitt's long hair that.
You don't even know. I think I saw Legends of the Fall like 12 times.
And never with the volume up.
No, you have to remember I'm an actor, so of course the volume was up, and of course I cried.
Well, speaking of actors, you're married to a fellow actor. Tell us about your husband and how you guys met.
So we met in grad school. We have been together since graduate school. We met in grad school. We moved to Los Angeles together, and we've been doing the grind together and hustling together. And he works quite a bit. Has done tons of guest stars. Right now he's on CW's Stargirl. He plays Sportsmaster. So he's like a really fun villain on that show.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about your kids. How many kids do you have?
We have 2 kids, 10 and 7. They're wonderful. They're, typical rambunctious, fun kids.
Such a fun age, that age right there. And to have 2 close in age like that, there's probably never a dull moment in your house.
No, there definitely isn't. And look, they have 2 parents that are actors. It is never a dull moment.
Right. Hey, how did the shutdown of the schools, for the last year, because it was pretty much homeschooled, from the Zoom classes over here in Ventura, and I know LA County was.
It was rough last year, like those last few months for my kindergartner. But, I have to say they go to like the most amazing school that hired sort of an online teaching specialist. And over the summer, they completely revamped their online program.
Oh, cool.
And my kids loved it. They loved the online school.
Oh, wow.
I will say that my youngest was able to go back on campus fairly early. I think like he returned on campus like by end of September. And then there were periods of time when there were surges and we would go back to online. But I have to say, I cannot be a parent that complains about the pandemic because A, we got through it without any of us getting sick or losing a loved one. And B, their school's program was like fun. It was fun. I would watch it and be like, oh yeah, this is totally fun.
Great. Good.
Well, I heard you say, speaking of school, that you yourself would like to be a teacher someday, possibly. What would you teach?
I mean, I've taught my whole life. Like I tutored and I've taught. It's like always been a part. I had a summer theater camp with my friends that we ran for children out in Silver Lake for years. So something I have done, and I taught acting at my daughter's school right now. But if I were to really just give up acting and make teaching, I would want to run a theater program for sure. And I wouldn't want to run it for adults as much as I would, I think, high school students.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So we know you got picked up for a second season. When do you begin shooting for that season?
Tentatively in the fall, but again, tentative, anything can change.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Well, we can't thank you enough for being on the show today. Now, of course, you can see Saba as Nas on Tuesday nights on TBS, or check out all the episodes at tbs.com. I've watched them several times. I have them all saved on my DVR. One is not enough. Go the second time, you pick up even more hilarious stuff. I love the show, and I can't thank you enough, both of us, for you being here today on Life and Laughs.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Yes. Thank you so much. We wish you all the success in the world. We'll be watching. Maybe we'll check back with you when the show starts winning all the awards and you start. I want to, especially now, I want to see you as this 14-year-old cousin.
He's trying to get that writing job at your show.
That is hysterical. That is hysterical. Well, just thank you so much, and your questions were great, and I totally had a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you. Have a great day.
You too, guys. Talk to you soon.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye. What an incredible interview. That was a lot of fun, Johnny.
She is so great. Oh, that was so much fun. I'm telling you, she's wonderful on the show as well. You guys need to check it out. Go to tbs.com. And also, while you're online, be sure to check us out. You can go to our website, too. That's lifeandlaughs.simplecast.com. There's links to all of our social media, our YouTube channel, which, by the way, if you're watching this video, please, if you like this, subscribe to the channel and go on wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe, like, and share the podcast. We sure would appreciate it. Thanks so much for you guys being here. And Elias, it's time. Let's see if we can get through it.
Oh, no. Until next time, this is Johnny and Elias telling you to always remember, wait a minute, is that right?
That's right. To live life.
Live life. Love everybody.
And laugh always.
We did it. I think we did it. We probably screwed that. Hey man, does this look like my eyes getting black on there? I'm asking because Dr. Drew got that Johnson & Johnson, and the next day both his eyes, he got two black eyes, and I was looking while we were doing the interview. I was like, man, this eye looks
like a shade darker, like from right there.
Yeah, I think that's a Johnson & Johnson kicking in. Next time you look at me, I look like Rocky Balboa. Hey, John, you notice anything?
You look like Will Smith in what was that dating movie he did?
Hitch.
The NyQuil. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, no, maybe slightly, just a slight little. Okay, let's go on. Welcome to Life and Life, Malcolm.
Oh my God.